Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of A Bigger Bite. I see you, and we saw Avatar: Fire and Ash, one of at least my most anticipated movies of the year. It's probably my number two behind Superman. And then you have Wake Up Dead Man at number three, which you can go check out that episode from last week. Go ahead and do that after this. Um, Once again, I am Matt, and today on this panel I have the one and only Amarú Moses, Nick Van Dinther, and special guest Harrison. Harrison, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm all right, living tired, but I'm making it.
Amaru, how are you doing, sir?
Same. It's a bit late. I mean, it's not that late, but I'm old, so I feel like it's late. It's
Commanders lost today.
I don't get the season's been over. It doesn't matter. It's just I felt how I felt after that 3 hour movie. It was long, and it was late, but I had a good time. We'll get into that later.
And Nick, how are you doing, sir?
I'm tired too.
I don't think anyone's as tired as me, but we're not going to talk about that. Anyways, we are here to talk about Avatar: Fire and Ash, the third and potentially final, depending on box office results, and the Avatar saga or trilogy. And I gotta say, Avatar is probably one of my favorite sci-fi action sagas, whatever the hell you want to call them. I'll give my thoughts in a minute, but Harrison, since you are the special guest, tell us, what did you think of Fire and Ash?
Avatar: Fire and Ash is the weakest film in the Avatar trilogy, in my opinion. But just because I think it's the weakest does not mean I didn't enjoy it. I sat there for 3 hours having a good time. I think I was telling another critic when we left, I said, it's not like watching a movie. It's like looking through a window at another world, just watching somebody else's life. Because the Na'vi, Pandora, it all looks so real, especially with the new fancy Dolby 3D glasses we had. It was just like a fun time. I think he described it as just like a warm blanket. So I really enjoyed it. It was a good movie.
I'm pretty sure, having talked to the other two of you, that Harrison is going to be on an island this episode.
No, he's not. He is not. Don't you do that. Don't you put that on me, Bobby.
I am going based off of what was said in the group chat that night.
What I said was this. I don't know where I'm at with this, because Avatar to me is the same across the board. This could be the weakest entry. This could be the best entry. All I know, it's an entry. Because for me, very similar. Avatar is just it's a pretty thing to look at that I enjoy when I watch it. But when I leave, I don't remember things sticking out much outside of the spectacle and the visual. Like I play trivia, so I remember Jake and I remember Natiri and I remember their names, but I don't remember things about people unless I watch it over and over. I'll say this. I think it improves on its biggest weakness, and that's getting you connected to the characters. I think it is by far the most by the end of the movie that I felt the character development. I felt connected more to the huge number of people in the movie. Somehow also it improved on its biggest strength, because those Dolby 3D glasses, that thing looked like a PS5 game. And I've heard people say that all the time, and I'm saying that as a compliment. I was like, I am playing a PS5 cutscene right now. This looks dope as hell. But on the other end, this was the only one out of the three that didn't feel like a movie to me. It felt like a long-ass television show or television series within 3 hours, because there were so many different plot lines like being juggled, and so many different plot points and people that just randomly disappeared, never to return by the end of the film. So like I at the end of it, I was like, I really enjoyed the end product, but while watching, I was like, this feels kind of weird. Just a little bit. This is weird, because I don't know what happened to that person. And then like literally an hour and a half later, oh, they're back. And then they're gone again, and then no more. So it could be the best. It could be the worst. I just, again, am where I'm at with most Avatar. It was there. I had a good ass time. I would watch it again. Yeah.
Nick, where do you stand on Fire and Ash?
the complete opposite of Harrison. This is easily my favorite film in the franchise. A franchise that I think has two pretty weak first two entries.
We must preface this by saying Nick watched them for the first time just days before his screening.
Yes, I
Wow.
saw Avatar for my first time a week ago. I think that every one of the films is gorgeous, especially for the time they came out. Like, to compare Avatar with the sequels in terms of quality of visuals, it's not fair because of the gap of time that came out between the first one and the second and third. I think for its time, all three of them are spectacular. So you kind of wash each other out with that. So then it comes down to what I look for in a movie, and Rue nailed it. Characters that are developed, storylines I care about, is something that I found none of in the first two films, and tons of in this film. I was invested, I cared, and is it the messiest of the three? Absolutely. I will side with Rue on that, but it's a messiness I really enjoyed. And one of the complaints that I've heard is it's the second film over again. And what I would say to that is it's the second film done better. Because the second film, in my opinion, is the weakest of the three.
I was definitely, when we were back on that boat in the water, like, are they redoing the same action scene from the previous one? Please do something different here. And they did. They ended up doing something different. They added onto it, but they definitely were back in that water, back on that boat. For sure.
All right. You done, Nick?
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, the Avatar series is a series of films where each film gets progressively better than the one before it. This was easily the best film in the series, and it perfectly ties together the previous two films. Unlike Rue, I'm a connoisseur of this shit. This is like Star Wars to me. I got this lore and legacy down like a motherfucker. The fact that they beautifully go into court, the fact that they beautifully started to mirror him further mirror him as Jake Sully, but fighting against it, because who's out here getting that alien tail just like
Corey,
he said?
Right?
Yeah. I like that mirror that they put there. Yeah.
And then Jake constantly being like, look at yourself in the mirror, motherfucker. There is another way. You are not the same guy. You are not gonna be welcome. It's almost like me going and walking in Django Unchained and looking at Samuel Jackson saying, motherfucker, look at your skin. They don't like you. They ain't gonna accept you no matter how much you kiss their ass. They don't care about this motherfucking mission. They are just using you to get me, and then you're not going to be welcome back as much as you think in your mind you are, because you have a dead man's memories. So that was beautifully done to me. Also, the way that they tie in elements from the first film, like, is they're repeating motions from the other two films. Yes. Nick said this feels like the second film, but done better. Fun fact, this and the second film are technically one film because they were originally written as a singular film together, but James Cameron realized, holy shit, this is too long. We're breaking this into two. This is supposed to just be Way of Water and Fire and Ash. This is supposed to be Avatar 2.
So this goes to a good point for me, because me and Harrison were at the same screen and I told him about this. This felt like the filler episode of the franchise.
I'm gonna disagree with that. Don't let me.
This feels like, but again, because it's the add-on to, and I'm not saying any of this as it's a bad movie, but as I'm sitting there, I'm like, all right, where are we going? What we're doing? We're not getting into a new movie plot. We're just kind of continuing what was going on and not expanding.
But here's what I'm gonna disagree, because this unlike Way of Water, there's not a time jump. It is literally picking up there's a time jump, but it's minimal. There is a 15-year time jump between Avatar and Avatar Way of Water. There's about a 6-month time jump here. Jake is still diving underwater to go dig in, find guns, and be like, hey, I know in the world of the Na'vi, guns are considered poison and your soul is damaged as soon as you touch one of these. But guess what? These motherfuckers are gonna come at you with them regardless, and you need to fucking be ready. Like,
I think it's a good continuation. I think it's a really, really good movie.
I don't consider it filler though.
I feel like I'm going off of what you said. They were filming at the same time, so it feels like, hey, I need to finish the Way of Water's like story, fill in a lot of information because they gave us a lot of information before moving on to the next step of this world and the next step of this story beyond the Omaticayas, because I think that's a water.
Omaticaya.
Like, outside of that.
Yeah. So if we hadn't met the Ash Clan, I might agree with you. But seeing their tendrils used as fucking weapons was something I was not expecting. The first time we saw tendrils being put together, we saw it used as a thing of love and sex, essentially. And for her to be like, hey, no, I'm about to torture your ass with this. I was like, yo, what is this? I thought that was for mating and connecting to these other creatures throughout the world and bringing this whole symbiotic relationship that the Na'vi have with Pandora full circle. And it's just like, no, this is much deeper than, this goes much deeper than previously thought. Kiri's story, absolutely fantastic. Seeing how everyone is dealing with the death of Jake's oldest son, how Loak specifically is grieving. I will say, it took me a minute, even though we knew after Way of Water, James Cameron told us, he's like, third film is through Jake's son's eyes. And I as soon as I heard that, I'm like, oh shit, Jake Sully's done. I'm fucked. I'm gonna be pissed as fuck leaving that theater. And I was pleasantly surprised that he wasn't, which, mind you, this is a spoiler review, so if that was a spoiler for you, go watch the movie and come back. But yeah, there is just so much in there, and you're right, Ruth. They do give us a ton of information, and that's why I'm like, all right, we hit this one, and going all over the place, because yes, the movie is messy and all over the place, but it is such a damn beautiful film. And I technically only half saw it. My 3D was busted. I was seeing double vision of everything, essentially, except for the wide shots. And I still loved this fucking movie.
How do y'all feel? Yeah. How do y'all feel about like the fact that how do y'all feel about that? Did you feel like it was a complete story? Do you feel like it was a filler episode? Because there are plenty of characters that like Giovanni Ribisi came in 1-2 times, and then once he was done, he was done.
He was in it just about as much as he was in the first film. Last film, he was in like once.
In the last film, he was only shown being kicked off the planet. I was pleasantly surprised that he was back in this film. And I actually like the lore that they added that. At first, you thought he was just some like high up like executive. No, his dad owns the company.
Nepotism.
That's nepotism there. So that was like good information on him. I like that. But I don't know if it seems like filler as much as it just seems like this is the leftovers from the last film. They're just finishing up that story, and
that's what sequels should do.
The original cut, like when he shot 1 and 2 together, it was like 9 hours. He had like 9 hours of footage, but they split that into 2 movies, and I was expecting getting better and better with each film. I don't know about that. I do think my favorite so far is probably the second movie. I think the second movie is my favorite. I think it's different enough from the first one. I don't think this one is different enough from the second one to be as, I was expecting, like when the Wind Traders, I knew it was called Fire and Ash, so I was like, we're gonna spend most of our time with the fire people. But we have like the Wind Trader avatar show up. I said, okay, we're about to spend a good chunk of time with these people. Nope. They get wiped out pretty quickly, and then we're moving on. I wanted a lot more time with them. Like,
so here's my question. This is where part of my question comes in about like people getting dropped off. Did David Thewlis's character die? Because he was pretty like the reason that that Spider was able to get on the ship. I was like, okay, he's gonna be like a part of this movie.
Wait, that was David Thewlis?
That was David Thewlis. Okay. And then when everybody went down, I was like, okay, are we gonna?
They made it seem like everyone who was in the Wind Traders died. That's how it was shown to me.
That's the other thing. Like, not all of the ships got got downed.
think-
Only one got out. I was confused.
I think
there was
some
only like
escaped.
one main ship, but like there was a couple
Yeah.
smaller ones, and
Yeah.
they focused on the main one, but it seemed like all of them did go down.
Yeah, I think some of them escaped because they had like the little dragon things too. So
The
some of them
acorn.
escaped, some of them died in fire, and others that survived the crash got scalped or
Exactly.
whatever you want to call it when they.
No, they said scout, called scout. That's
Yeah,
what
that's
they
what the
called it.
Horage called it, but I forget what the little thing is called. The quad, what's it called? Like a quadu or something?
Whatever
when they
the
cut
first
that
tail they got is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Jermaine Clement's character, he saves Jake, and then
Loved
he
it.
runs off, and then again gone. No
Oh,
update.
he did just disappear, didn't he?
Just disappeared. Gone. Nothing to remember. Where did he go? Is he okay? Did he
Jail.
survive?
Jail.
And then we talked about this. Edie Falco's character. She said, "Yo, let's get to these escape pods." And all of a sudden, there's a clip
she
of
died.
her in the.
She-
Why? So
Because
she
they
just
weren't
No.
they weren't able to
No.
get out. It was shown in progression.
She's not dead.
No, she's dead. It was,
They would have shown her body.
They
The
literally
thing she was
they
in
literally
exploded.
they literally show her being exploded by fire.
So
That bitch is dead.
Here's my thing. They said, let's go to these lifeboats. And then the very next scene is a half a second cut of her in the front of the boat getting exploded. And I'm like, why are you still there? You just said go to the lifeboats. Why are you not in a lifeboat? And why isn't there a longer scene
They weren't
showing her
able to
face?
they weren't able to get into the lifeboat.
How?
Because that is
How?
at that exact moment is when the whale creature started attacking.
There was about a 10-minute time
Mm-mm,
difference
there was not.
between those two scenes.
No, there was not.
Still,
And
you should
again,
watch
I like
this
this
again.
movie.
I said started. I didn't say it hit her specifically, but at that moment is when those attacks started happening. So
It was messily cut with me to me, and like it's those things that made me feel like, all right, I'm in the middle of a television series. This is episode 1. This is episode 2.
It's called
this
a
is episode
Sahela.
3. And you just,
If
That's
you
called-
watch that
It's called a
explosion,
Sahela.
if you watch that explosion, you can tell they cut away from showing her actually blow up to show the ship blow up. And James Cameron most likely did it on purpose to show either A, she's still alive, she could be badly burned, still alive,
did.
or B, she's still alive and she's about to be an Avatar body in the next
No.
movie.
and
No,
my
it's-
thing
no,
is, it's
No, she won't.
Edie Falco.
Remember, real
Huh?
quick. No, she won't, because we do know where Avatars 4 and 5 go if they happen. 1, they have partially filmed it. They got filmed with 2 and 3, but there is a time jump, and they are going to Earth for 4 and 5. James Cameron said that when Way of Water was coming out. So
Why can't
That
she
bitch
be in the
dead.
next? She can easily be in the next one. Do you know how many years it takes to get? It takes what, at least? What's the time travel from?
Somebody said 60.
I don't think it's 60. Hold on. I think it's 15.
I don't remember, honestly. I really don't. My biggest thing is, on top of the fact that, again, I'm going to plug the fact that I play trivia. Every time I look at the cast list, Edie Falco was listed for Avatar through 2, 3, 4, and 5. And second, it's Edie Falco. She has not had like actual time in 2, and then she had more time in 3, and then just unceremoniously kill her without seeing her face. Those are the things that made me like, I enjoyed the shit out of this. By the end of it, I really, really enjoyed it. But it felt like I was even questioning, did we get a final cut? Like, are they cutting that when it releases in theaters? And like,
Yes, we got a
doing
final cut. So it was told in a closed story. James Cameron said in interviews recently that it was edited this way to close the story outside of 1 or 2 story points that he didn't hit, and if it isn't a box office success and we don't get 5 or 4 and 5, that he will finish it off with a novel. And to answer the question that we have, the travel time from Earth to Pandora is 5 years, 9 months, and 22 days.
I'd take the bet that Edie Falco's alive. I'd definitely take that bet.
I'll bet you a
100%.
steak dinner right now.
100%.
I'll bet you.
I'll take
a
that.
dinner right now.
I'll take that bet. I'll
Yeah, I'll
take
take
that
steak.
bet. that she's alive.
I'm talking to Rue specifically because I'll see him most likely.
But anyway, the thing is, I don't see how it was a closed story because Una Chaplin's character also just gets away with no closing. Like this is not the last movie.
Like he said,
there's no way this is the last movie.
Actually, there's
no way.
There is a large chance because they've come out and said that $2 billion is the break-even point.
I feel like it's gonna
that was the last. He shot all of this with the last movie. The only thing they had to pay for this one was editing. This movie does not need to make
$2 billion is the break-even point
for this alone. That would mean that shooting it costs like $4 billion.
It's not the shooting it; it's the computer animations that go along with it, and the character design and everything else. The amount of detail that has to go into the creation of Pandora, as well as the character.
Bye, Nick, again.
Okay, bye, Nick. But yeah, that is why, and how he put so essentially, it's like they did with Wicked. Wicked was a $350 million budget. They split it into 2 films. Avatar was essentially a $4 billion budget, but it got split between the 2 films. The last one hit the green, but a lot of the more in-depth and other things because a lot of the first one was being carried over into this, but the addition of the fire and ash tribe, all that, and creating more details and everything in that regard, that is what it's pushing that budget a little bit higher. All right, so let's talk about Spider, because we talked budget, we talked story, but one story point we got to hit really hard is the Spider story, because I think that ultimately ties into one of the 3 storylines that we don't get fully covered in Avatar, Fire and Ash. So, speaking on to James Cameron's, like 4 and 5 are going to Earth, so on and so forth. Well, we are introduced to something that can absolutely change how humans can live on Pandora in Spider's storyline. However, my personal opinion on what happened is it was given to Spider as a gift because of how it's connected to Awa and how Kiri herself is connected to Awa, being essentially the female Jesus Christ of Pandora.
I laughed like a motherfucker when she gave them the side eye. Like, yes. Why y'all here? Why are y'all here?
But one thing you can say about Spider is he is one of the few humans who truly understands and embraces what this planet stands for, its people, how it works, how everything like that. And I feel like Awa was saving his life or helping Kiri save his life in that moment and presented that to him as a gift, because when I'm like, oh, we get freaky deaky because she just kissed this motherfucker. We are going there fully. Okay. Cross-species relations, people. But this time, instead of through an avatar, it's straight up.
Yeah.
So
their kids, I assume they're gonna have kids in the next movie, and that'll be our first
full hybrid.
It would be since she's technically half. That means it would be what?
Yes, because she's a clone. She's a clone. Yes, you were absolutely right. So she's half. Kids would be a quarter Navi. You gotta wonder, does that mean like it's gonna be somewhere in between human height and Navi height? Like,
yeah, you're probably getting shorter and more pale in terms of the kids. Of course, at that time they'll have the regular hands like her brother does. Yeah. Because only Loak, he's the only one who was actually
Loak is the only one that has 3 hands. Yeah. 3 fingers and the thumb.
I thought it was 4, whatever it is, not 4 instead of 5.
No, Loak does have 4 because he's like, you see these? Yeah. So like, it's the other brother, Natayam, who died and who only had 3.
Yeah. The eldest had the most Avatar genes. The younger kids, they all had more human genes.
Yes.
So they could do high 5s instead of high 4s.
Yes.
Did y'all I couldn't tell if I liked Jack Champion's performance.
I thoroughly enjoyed Jack Champion's performance.
Is he
He's Spider.
He's Spider, yeah. No, I haven't liked him in either movie. Like, I like the character. I don't like how he's being directed. Like,
to be fair, at that time I think he's like 11 or 12. So like that is
that young?
at the time of filming. He's not that young
Okay.
anymore. You have to remember this is filmed nearly a decade ago. So at that time, he's about 12. Like the age range is somewhere between 11 and 13 or 14. So you're still in that young actor, child actor area that can be a little bit weird. So I grade that kind of performance more so at a curve than others than most other performances normally. You know what I mean? Because like think about this. The only other true child performer on that set is Took.
Yeah.
Because even Loa, he was about 16, if I remember correctly. The actor who plays Loa was 16 around the time of filming. So
yeah, he's 3 years older than Jack Champion is. Still, like we criticize child actors. Like I went back and forth.
I personally try not to. That's all I'm getting at. I grade child.
Oh, I love to criticize children.
You know I do.
Yes,
STK,
yes,
man.
STK, man.
Yo, because I go back and forth. I'm with Harrison. Like I like the character and his portrayal makes sense, but I'm like, ooh, you keep going back and forth from annoying to a little too corny to like actually hitting the right notes for the annoying and corny, and it works, but then another ones it doesn't, and I keep going back and forth with it.
This is what I can say, and I think this will sound like a bit of a compliment and an insult all at the same time. He is less annoying in this one.
Yes.
Compared to the previous film. He's a well-written character, at least within the characters that we get in this world. I don't think he is performed particularly at the level that the character needs. But I didn't hate him as much in this one as I did in the first one, or in the second one.
Like specifically, like the scene between him and Jake, where spoiler alert, Jake's thinking about taking him out, and he just keeps like the way he begs even sounds annoying. It was like
that wasn't
please, like
to me.
you don't have to do that. Like I feel like if he said that line a couple of times and then just kind of did the whole, all right, I understand what you have to do, it would have came up a little bit better. But the way he just kept saying it and kept doing it, and it wasn't like if he was like bawling his eyes out or crying, that would have made a little more sense if him keep saying it. But he was just kind of like standing there, like, no, please don't do this. It's like he was just like somebody had some cue cards in front of him. All right, again. All right, again. And I just, like I said, I agree. Well written, just not.
To me, that scene was him going back and forth. He was hoping he was wrong. He's like, please don't do this. And then it was acceptance. And then right when he's about to do it, he's like, I can't accept this, because he ultimately he calls him dad because that's the only father he's known. I was bawling at that scene. I'm not even gonna lie. Like,
see, again, that comes back to I think it's well written, but not well performed.
And real
also
quick,
the scene that he has with Stephen Lang, I think when they're talking about his mom, they almost show that Spider's weakness, like the weakness of humans, what they assume is the weakness of humans, is one of his like downfalls that keeps him on the outside looking in. And he really never does a great job of displaying that weakness. And I almost wanted more of that from the character. Like I said, even when he's talking about his mom and stuff like that, there's a coldness that could work. Is almost like military kid style, but it doesn't work because we've been told that he is this more emotional, scared, fearful kind of kid. And I don't think he does a good job of portraying that, unfortunately.
So real quick, answering on the age, he was 12 when they started production. Avatar 2 went into production September 2017. He was born November 2004. So he started the production 12, turned 13 a couple months into it. So he's
it ended filming around 2020. So from 13 to 16. Yeah.
That's when they filmed it around 2017. Is what I'm saying.
But they finished in 2020. I'm saying so he kind of grew up doing it, doing both films. You brought up pale skin. I want to talk about Neytiri and how much of a badass she is.
Hold on, before we get to that, we didn't discuss Spider, his mutation. How do you think that was handled? The mycelium going in him.
For me, I like how that worked out because it also went into one of the more interesting characters of the story so far for me, and that's Kiri. What her connection to Awa is going to be, her being a clone, not being the outsider in these two groups of within outsider, because Jake is technically an outsider, and then she's even more of an outsider. I want to know what her story is going to end up, and Spider is now intricately connected to her, and I like the science of it. I like saying that you had whatever those were, not midichlorians, but whatever the fuck they want to call them.
The mycelium from the
Mycelium.
Yeah. Mycelium. I am very interested in how that's playing out because it's now the two of them together. And it is the outsiders like might become some of the most important characters in everybody's life. They're kind of gonna determine the fate of Earth, the fate of Pandora, the fate of humans, the fate of everybody. So I'm really interested in how that goes, and I liked how they wrote that.
Do you think like the Na'vi also have like mycelium naturally in their body, or do you think that's just like a copycat that makes him similar to them?
How they explained it is the mycelium are producing it's a symbiotic relationship. He's keeping them alive, they're keeping him alive. They are what are allowing him to breathe that air right now.
Yeah, they're pulling out the toxins. Yeah.
Yes. So it's the Na'vi are they're born from the planet that's just they can breathe it. This is how Awa and the world are allowing Spider to become further a part of it. That is how I'm going to view it.
And if that's the case, if the Na'vi don't have it, if they just have some like natural way to do it, how is he able to grow one of the little things?
Again, I viewed that as a gift from Awa.
Okay.
Because again, he's putting Awa essentially because Kiri is a clone / daughter of Awa and has Jesus powers. Let's be honest, she's Pandora Jesus. She connected to the All Mother and the All Mother granted Spider, knowing what he means to Kiri, with this gift for them to further connect and allow for them to grow together.
One thing I did want to say before we jump off Spider, because I had to look up and make sure. You said he was around 12 when they filmed
12
this?
when they started. 12 when they started, 16 by the time they ended.
Okay, so here is my comparable, because both are in a world that is kind of driven by fear. It has scary things in it, and it needs an emotional performance. If I compare Jack Champion's performance in this movie to Alfie Williams' performance in 28 years later, Alfie Williams slaughters that child.
Clears him.
I disagree. I fucking hated him.
You are the
and
minority.
I hate that movie.
Alfie Williams was amazing in that film.
And that's not me to say. That's not me here saying that Alfie Williams is a great actor by any means, but that is someone who I think the same was asked of both actors, and I think Alfie did what was asked of him, and I think Jack failed at portraying Spider the way I think he's written to be. When you look at his actions and the way they talk about how he is, I think if you had a little bit more of the emotion that you got from Alfie Williams' character, I think Spider's scenes would have hit a lot harder.
Or at least he couldn't get all the way there.
Yeah.
But here,
he was the one I watched throughout the movie that was like, I
do want to push back on this a little bit, because this is just me being the ultra geek I am when it comes to how even these films are made. For Jack specifically, he's got the hardest job of any of the lead characters, because he's the only one who's not even really interacting with any of those actors. He is essentially dealing with all stand-ins.
You're talking about Jack.
No,
he did. They're all there in motion capture suits.
Jack is not in motion capture. Jack,
but I'm saying the people are. The other actors.
No, I can literally pull up the featurette I have watched on. Excuse me, it's actually on Disney Plus, where James Cameron explains that everything that is digital is filmed separately, and then they go back and do similar framing with the live, like the human actors. Those two don't really intersect based off of how it was explained in that feature I watched on Disney Plus. It is two separate things, and then in post they are amalgamized and put together to create one frame.
I don't know if you have to do that. I'm pretty sure he's there. He's just not in the suit.
He is not.
Because
they literally.
He did.
They
No, he did. He did both. He did both.
Yeah.
He did play across from the actors initially, but then he had to play kind of on his own after.
So and what we are given to watch is strictly the stuff he's given on his own. Is the point I'm getting. So sure, while he's getting an idea of how to perform it initially, he's not actually in that moment getting to be with those actors. He has to go back. So he of any character given there has the hardest job, which is another reason why I put sliding scale when it comes to that performance.
My counter argument to that would be, if he has the hardest job, he didn't complete it. It may have been a more difficult job, but he didn't.
He failed miserably.
My counter argument to that is, when you're asking a young actor to talk to either a stand-in or a fucking tennis ball, and they're still learning their way in this business, that is something even great actors struggle at to this day. And considering the age he was at, that was a very admirable attempt.
So that confirms to me that there was a bit of a to his performance, even though he tried his best. That's where I'm at. Because I'm just trying to make sure I wasn't the only one.
I don't view it as, but I'm saying I factor all that. Like, this is why I do my research into especially tentpoles like this, because I want to view it and grade it as such.
It makes sense. I was very, very conflicted with him throughout, because I like the character, but his performance sometimes jumped in and out. But no, I cannot go any further without speaking on how much, again, Neytiri is a badass, but I loved how she went full Bernie Mac and Don't Be a Menace. I hate their pale skin. I hate their pale thumbs. I hate their pale lips. She just straight up said, "Fuck these white people,"
and I
love all of them. And it was
I love how Vic was like, "So you hate me?" And she's like, "No, no." Just like, "Yeah, you do, bitch, because I'm half them. And our kids are half them. So are they mistakes?" And it's just like, shit, I pinned myself into a corner.
She basically said yes. She
said
that
yes.
moment.
But like, you could tell that was like a half-hearted, just like, just to try to hurt him. It seemed like.
It's almost like they're not all like you. Like, basically, he's like the outlier. He's different. Well, him plus the scientist that she, of course, went to go help her. So,
but her whole arc kind of represents like the why I like the character arcs here a lot more. Like, feeding into the hate you started to see in The Way of Water, and her having to deal with that after. My boy who went with me afterwards texted me and was like, one thing I noticed, Quaritch wanted no parts in Neytiri. None. Because he knew if he ever went up straight one-on-one, I had to deal with
that motherfucker ran. Like, Jake's about to be like, "Hey, I'm gonna tell her you just helped." Like, literally, that was like kind of, it's like, hey, look, they're here. Hey, I'm up. Oh, your ass is gone. Okay, I'm not. And doesn't even tell his wife, like, "Hey, yeah, we're fine. We did this." Like, am I the only one who noticed Jake never said shit to Neytiri about the times that Quaritch was like, "Hey, yeah, he's not really that bad."
He didn't mention that at all. He just left and they just moved on.
Mm-hmm. Which I think, if you pay attention to how Jake and Quaritch's relationship is through the film, I think that's on purpose, because he has seemingly taken it upon himself to make it his mission to be like, "I know deep down you are where I was, and I need you to see you can come out on the other side and live and embrace this world that you clearly are starting to love, because you've been shown a darker side of it that you didn't know existed, that you find exhilarating."
Just to make sure we're all on the same page here, or we're all under the impression that Quaritch is still alive, right?
Same reason, same way I believe that General is alive.
No,
on top of the fact that she is listed as being the other two movies.
So,
but anyway,
the reason I believe Quaritch is alive is because we just see him screaming. We see Edie's asses, then explosion. There is a difference.
You know, in the first Avatar movie, we saw Quaritch get stabbed with a giant spear, and he's in this movie. So,
not a spear. It's a bow and arrow.
Arrow to a human is a spear.
Fair. Very true. For me, but yeah, I still think this movie is messy. and I had the weirdest experience watching this movie, trying to figure out like how they were executing everything. But it was even weirder because at the end of it, I felt the best about this movie at the end than I did about any other movie. While watching the other two, I felt the best about the experience than watching this one. So I kind of have them all on the same level. But between Neytiri, Kiri, Quaritch, Jake, Spider, all of them.
Loak, we got
Loak,
to talk about that man. That man's story was so
Loak.
It's not Loak. Yeah, there we go.
It's Loak. Yes, Loak. All of them, I really enjoyed where they ended. Everybody ended. And I'm really interested in seeing where they're going and hoping like that character development continues on.
Let's dive into Loak because I know I brought him up earlier because he's taken over as the narrator of the story. But the amount of growth you see from that young man throughout this film was absolutely incredible. Like everyone is grieving in their own way, but he sees how his family still kind of blames him for Neteyam's death. But he's trying to show, like, listen, that's not who I am. I have grown, I have learned from it, and you need to take the time to see that. And it's through the actions that he's like, no, fuck you, I'm doing it my way. And you need to just watch and listen. That you kind of, and I guess maybe that part hit me hard, or hit me harder, because that's kind of the relationship I've had with my dad growing up, to where we have the same goal. I'm going path A to it, he's going path B, and he gets on me because I'm not going the same path with him. It's like, just watch and see, and we're gonna end up at the same place. It doesn't have to be the same journey.
See, the thing with him for me, that like I actually found him one of the least interesting stories, because everything I watched him do was things I felt I had seen before from other characters.
And that's totally fine.
There was just nothing, especially when you compare him to Kiri, which is a far more interesting character and a far more interesting plot line to me. Everything he did over and over again, I just kept being like, okay, where's something new coming here? And every aspect of Loak's story, I was like, I've seen this before.
My focus wasn't on the new, though, when it comes to him. I'm just talking about, I can admit that it's a retread trope. No denying. I'm just talking about seeing how he grew from Way of Water to now in Fire and Ash, taking the time to fix his mother's bow, taking the time.
He had help with that, though. So
yeah, he did have help with it, but he essentially, from what we were shown, he did a lot of the physical nature of that work, because he's the one who did the carving of the wood for it and everything else.
I'm with you, Nick, but I didn't really see it as a negative. And you talked about it earlier, how you didn't know how you would feel about Loak being the deliverer, the narrator, but also the way we're watching this movie through his eyes. I think that's the reason we're retreading his, is because of everything we already talked about. This is a part 2 of Way of Water, basically. So the story has to continue through him. So he's still finishing off the storylines that weren't finished in the beginning.
The new Jake going forward from what's being said. It's the story is supposed to move with him.
And again, that's kind of where I guess where I somewhat felt like this is a continuation, not a next movie. And why I guess I'm between filler and whatever. I was good with that because he continued the story while everybody else built. And I guess it was finishing an arc that was already started in Way of Water, where everybody else felt like a next step, a new next step. So like, I agree with you, but I saw that he's our through line where everybody else is building around him.
See, my problem is where I said that all the character development in this was one of the strongest parts of it. I don't think you have strengthened that character enough for him to lead this franchise. And I think they think that was definitely the goal. And I don't think that's a goal that they succeeded at.
I would disagree. I feel like they succeeded in that well, because essentially his character is now to be that new leader, and he had to go through different obstacles to get to where he is compared to everyone else. Kiri's Pandora Jesus, and Neytiri had to look on the inside and look past how humans are, and she ultimately, and the moment she does that is when they decide not to kill Spider, because you've seen her give that Spider the side eye through both Way of Water and this, as in, he's never going to be my son, he's never going to be one of my children, to in that moment her accepting him as one of her children. So
I think the way that I think if you want to strengthen his character, I mean, I think if you're looking going forward how this story gets told, I think a lot of us thought, I mean, almost everyone at my screening thought that there was one guarantee going in this movie, and it was that Jake wasn't going to make it. And we were all very surprised to see him make it.
yes.
And the other thing we all thought was going to happen was that Stephen Lang was going to get his babyface turn. And I think we're set up that is going to happen when he returns in the 4th or 5th film, whenever they bring him back. But I think the thing you've made interesting with the change of Spider's character is the idea that you can get kind of a Simba Scar battle between Spider and Loak to see who would become the leader. And I think that's an interesting place to take this story, because Loak just as his own as the leader, just without opposition.
Let me stop you right there.
I don't care.
Let me stop you right there. That would be fucking horrible, because that would betray the character of Spider that you set up. And like this film is literally this was finalizing where Spider stands, because the first film there was that flirtation of, oh, what's he gonna do, and that last bit of flirtation that we had was when he took Quaritch's dog tags and then used them to get out and drop them. To me, that was where I was like, okay, this he has made his decision. He has accepted his path. And the fact that when he stood up to Quaritch during that end battle and said, I will fucking kill you, standing in front of Jake, don't hurt him because I will kill you.
No, you're misunderstanding me. Maybe because I said the Simba and Scar thing. I'm not saying he's going to turn into a villain. I'm saying that there is two good guys that are battling as to who is going to be the leader of these people. And I think that's an interesting story to tell.
They're not going to tell that story based off of one thing and one thing only. The Na'vi would never in their goddamn life accept a completely pale-faced human. They don't care. They would not care that he had the Elu.
I'm not sure of that.
I will go ahead, Harrison.
I would agree. I do not think they would accept Spider as the leader. The only reason they accepted Jake as leader is because he became Taruk Maktal. That's the only reason he got it, because nobody had done that in like how many cycles
since Neytiri's grandfather.
Yeah. So like that's the only reason he got it, and also he's like a warrior and all that. Spider's not a warrior. Spider's a normal kid. I think Spider is accepted into the family. Like AWA let him in. He's able to go see all the dead people, which we should actually talk about that.
We'll talk about that.
But we should also talk about Una, because we've kind of just
we'll get to
bypassed her completely.
We'll get to her. Listen, this is a 3-hour movie. This is gonna be a longer episode. Let's be honest.
But yeah, and I don't think, even if that did happen, like Spider can't beat a Na'vi. He does, unless this mutation has actually made him stronger. In the next movie, we see him like he's super tall and has like
starts to become.
They have like naturally, aren't their bones like carbon, like naturally have like unless somehow he gets stronger, that's not gonna happen. Well, I mean, unless
I'm going back and forth listening to y'all about it, because I do think it would be interesting. The only way that kind of situation would happen to me is a older generation Na'vi versus younger generation Na'vi, which they have already started. But Loak is already a part of the younger generation.
And the moment he spoke out for the whale, that's the moment where he wins that title in my eyes. And that's the only way I could see that happening. But Loak's already on his side. And yeah, I'm with you. I don't think Spider is a leader type. I think he's just a part of that newer generation being accepted. So yeah, I think I'm going to lean on, it would be interesting, but I don't know how that would make that work, to be honest. But if they can make it work, hey, all the better to them, because I don't know where they're going with that. Just like I don't know
where Meringue went after she left. Again,
Meringue.
Meringue. Thank you. Meringue.
She got
Appreciate it. I said Meringue. I didn't remember.
Hey, you don't need to know it for trivia.
Not yet.
She got connected with AWA, basically. Someone who she was upset with for letting like her people and her land get destroyed.
Yeah,
she basically was able to have like a one-on-one connection with her. And she's like,
remind me of that scene.
Kiri straight up did Meringue's thing to her and showed her how powerful AWA truly was. So now that's part of the threads that I'm interested in seeing Cameron pick up on if we do get 4 and 5, because Meringue, where she stood, she's gonna just like Quaritch has been having this shift. Meringue is gonna have to have this shift based off of where we left her, and I feel like that leads to all the Na'vi coming to Earth for war and making a final stand, based off of what we've been told.
I think she was. But anyway, I think Una Chapman did an amazing job with her. She was menacing. She was sexy. She was everything Quaritch. So. We were watching her through Quaritch's eyes, basically.
Yeah, I was in his position.
100%. 100%. Going from the Red Wedding to this is a huge transition. Even though that was long time ago.
Not in terms of when this was filming. It was only a couple of years, if you want to look at it that way.
But I think that was a good way to, because I did think that the Wind Traders were going to be the outside. We're also going to be like really, really big part of this. Like we're going to keep seeing new tribes, but bringing them in. I will say, did anybody else feel a little bit like, ooh, scalping and savages and stuff? Do we want to do that? Or did they think it fitted?
It fitted because of how he's presented, or how he's based the Na'vi off of Native American tribes in general. So factoring that in, yes, but knowing a lot of these actors and actresses behind those characters are not Native people, that is where it's like, ooh.
I think, I remember like a couple years ago, I did like a deep lore dive on Na'vi, and like cutting the Q things off is like considered a fate worse than death. Yes, even though in this movie it seemed like it killed them automatically. But
that one seemed like they were already about to die, but I agree with you.
Yeah. But like I thought that's something I was interested in. Like I did not expect like another Na'vi to do it to another Na'vi. I thought it'd be like something humans started doing. But yeah, I was fine with it. It seemed very cruel and definitely set up the Ash people as villains, so to speak, even though the rest of them are like NPCs, and it's only Varang that we really got to know.
What she's leading the way. That's they needed their leader. She's their leader, and I mean,
I did enjoy the one like basically they have kamikaze pilots, like the one set on fire.
That threw me the fuck off.
I thought that I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Also, the space cocaine. Like what in the world?
No,
was that scene?
That wasn't space cocaine. That, my friend, was space crushed up. That was the ayahuasca. That's what that was.
Whatever
acid
it was.
Ayahuasca. Cocaine.
That was a wild scene. That was a wild scene to put in the movie.
That was your PS5 cutscene right there. Another cutscene. 100%. Yeah. There was one other thing, but I lost it. I'm sorry.
There's no nice segue into saying this, but because we mentioned him way earlier when my feed, when I had to leave because my feed cut out. Jermaine Clement, especially compared to the guy he's opposite in this film, why did they not let him have his accent? Because he slips in and out of the American accent a lot. He does not do a good accent in this film.
He was also honestly another one where I was like, I get your character, but I also am not sure you're the guy.
He just reminds me of the next generation of Norm. That's literally how I viewed him.
Ooh, that reminded me before I forget.
By the way, who noticed Norm had that fucking that
big earring, the two things here?
I was just like, where the fuck was this? What?
My question with them, you go ahead, Amar.
I was wondering about. I am very interested because when Nick dropped out, we did talk a little bit about where this is going. Seeing the human side of all of this, like I was like, oh, they really don't like the Na'vi down on Earth. Earth, like at all, and they're like straight traders. Getting more into like humans and their ideologies around Na'vi and Pandora and the prejudice and not prejudice. That would be something very interesting to go into more in 4 and 5. If they do it. I also would be very cool not getting into humans whatsoever because we are not the center of the universe. But if they do, the few things we got when they were cheering on Jake being imprisoned, I was very interested in like, oh wow, I didn't even think about what humans actually think about this place back on Earth.
I'd also be cool, like, not to sound like a hater, because like I enjoyed this movie, but I'd also be cool if this was the end. Like I feel like this could be it for me.
It could be.
Granted, we're talking about the man who watched all of them in a 3-day span. So I take everything he says with a grain of salt.
I just want to get James Cameron back to that Alita Battle Angel sequel.
No,
I want that too.
Yeah,
but
that's what I want.
James Cameron, live in Pandora until the day that you die, please and thank you.
Why are the scientists still human? Why are the scientists still human? Like,
what do you mean?
They have avatar bodies. Why are they why not just say, hey, can we get the Jake Sully treatment?
Because
we know they're good people.
I feel like it's automatically because of this. We talked about why Spider wouldn't be accepted as leader, because Jake was only accepted because he was Taruk Makto. It's another one of those things of only one has an avatar body. That's Norm. Norm is the only one who has an avatar body.
I'm pretty sure they all the scientists, yeah. Because remember the first movie, that big room, they all had avatar bodies.
Of the ones that stayed, because not everyone stayed. Of the ones that stayed, only Norm is the only one that has an avatar body.
All the scientists stayed. All the business people got kicked off.
No.
Watch it again.
Not all of the scientists stayed. Trust me. I know these movies.
I'm pretty sure.
Those who chose to stay could. Not all of the scientists stayed. A large portion of them did, but not all of them. Because
by scientists, I mean like Grace's group.
Guy. Oh, I know the Indian guy, part of Grace's group, a scientist. Strictly on the back end. He's a guy behind the chair. He does not have his own avatar.
Yeah, not him. I'm talking about like Grace's group of guys with the avatar. There was like at least 3 of them.
There was at least 3 or 4 others, because we see them playing basketball and in the field and whatnot, and in those fields and whatnot. However, the only one we ever see in this film, The Way of Water, and the first film outside of Jake and Grace is Norm. No other avatar.
I'm pretty sure Norm, in this movie there was another guy when Norm was going in, they had another guy waking up.
No,
we may not have seen his avatar. They had another guy.
They did.
Oh, okay. But either way, point is, okay, they exist. I'll give you that. But not everyone has stayed. And they are living like when they did the rescue to find them. The only one that came that was seemingly from the Avatar program was Norm, and then it was a Metakaye, or it was the Jake's
the new Taruk Maktal, the new guy
So we've essentially only been shown Norm. That's why I'm saying, like, as far as I know, and even when you see them being sent home, Norm is the only other avatar outside of Jake that you see standing there. So that's why I've said what I've said. But so ultimately, while it's like Grace, they loved Grace, they accepted Grace. The only reason that they were willing to try to put Grace in her avatar body was because of how much they knew her personally, because of how she was a teacher for them, taught them English, how involved she was with those kids. It does not seem as though they feel the same way about everyone else. Jake was accepted because of who he is and what he had done. Grace was accepted because of who she was and what she had done. We haven't seen that with the others, and who knows, maybe they would rather just go back and forth between being an avatar and being a human, which is totally their choice also. But as has been presented, AWA works in mysterious ways, and certain things are viewed as a gift. And Jake was a gift. Grace, as we know with Kiri, is a gift. And Spider was a gift. So that's why I don't think it translates over.
We should also talk about that. Like, is she giving gifts because she's nice, or is she giving gifts because she's tired of them? Because in the last movie, every time Kiri tried to talk to her, she got kicked out. And even in this one, when they did all that stuff to get to her, she kind of turns her head and is like, "What now?"
The
It's
hardest
like,
side
yeah.
eye ever, and it was
and we
hilarious.
only, and that was kind of like a very, the fact that how huge, and she looks like them,
Yes.
but we only got to see her head, and she's turning around.
We only got to see her side profile. We didn't even get the full look.
That was kind of scary, but kind of like grand at the same time. But the way she was turning around was kind of like, have I not helped y'all enough? Like it. Did y'all have any more thoughts on that? Because I thought that was actually a pretty good scene.
So I feel like this is again. Listen, we're talking about one of my favorite. I played the video game, bro. The video games, even the tie-in one from the first film. So like, this is how steeped in this lore how much I love this lore and talking about this shit. So it's one of those things where I don't think Awa's tired of them, but I feel like what we've learned is while she may be called upon, she only answers when she feels like it's the time to. Her shooing Kiri away was waiting until it was time to. Notice how they needed a bond between numerous Na'vi and Spider to actually break through, because nobody seemingly has talked to Awa herself outside of Grace.
But they do get signs. They do get those signs.
They get signs. No, I'm not denying. But I'm saying a face-to-face outside of Grace, who knows what Kiri's history is and why Kiri is pushed away.
Grace saw her before she died.
Yes. So outside of Grace, no one has seemingly seen Awa's face until that moment. And I think Kiri, because again, she's Pandora Jesus, same thing. She had to push and fight to finally get those answers and have her thoughts and prayers answered, and even just understand what she herself had to do. And notice Awa doesn't answer until Kiri says, "Fuck it, I'm gonna do it myself." And it's not until then. So to me, it's one of those things where Awa is answering because she's like, "You've realized what you have to do. Now let me do my part."
It goes back to me. I think outside of Kiri is my the character I am most interested in, and knowing what that is going forward. I'm very interested in where she's going and her story, which is funny because I'm getting a little bit. I'm not going to say I'm tired, but I feel like the what blank Jesus is a trope that happens a lot.
Yes,
in sci-fi movies, but to be able to make that interesting still with this being a whole moon, and like
it's a single moon of like a planet with three or four moons
and everything. I'm interested.
Another interest I have with like Kiri, I think one of the purposes of her is that I think she's bringing Grace back to life. No. Otherwise, why are they're keeping Grace's body alive? Kiri's been born for years. They're spending money keeping it in that tube. There's no need to do that. Nobody else can use that avatar but Grace.
One, and I'm gonna take you back to Way of Water real quick.
Oh, wow.
Shut the fuck up. So that seems like it's being done as like a courtesy to Kiri, because you see that Kiri speaks to, like, remember the first time we see that they're keeping Grace's body alive and she crawls up on it and says, "Hi, Mom."
Yeah.
And I think that's more so like for the scientists, that's she was one of us. This is how we can keep her close by, because they've abandoned the home tree's gone. It got burned in the first film. This is where they're living. Like, this is the area that they're living now in the Hallelujah Mountains. So that's essentially for them. That's the equivalent of a grave that they can give her and easily access.
Yeah, but why would you need to access her grave?
Also keep in mind, she was pregnant. So like, here it's a $1
They
billion.
were studying her.
It's $1 billion investment. So like they were studying
Not
her.
their money though. I understand. That makes sense. They were studying her. They need to find out how Kiri got here. But now that Kiri can see the real Grace in the spirit world, I'm saying if we get another movie, that body shouldn't be there unless it's like a Chekhov's gun and they're gonna put her back in it.
I don't know if they'll put her back in because otherwise you wouldn't see her in the afterlife with everyone else.
No, I'm saying, Space Jesus, Kiri, is going to go in and be like, hey, I have this power. Mom, I need you to come out and fight with us. And then she's going to do something.
You want to know the big reason I don't think they're going to do that? Because they're going to be like, yeah, we can't do two Sigourney. We can't have Sigourney. It's like that one. Because with it being mocap, they'd have to keep them separated or keep her separated and have to go back.
You do a stunt double and just dub the lines over.
I don't know if they do that because they wouldn't dub it. My point is like it'd just be expensive because they would reshoot with her performing those lines.
Well, it wouldn't be like the whole movie. It'd be like at the end.
I know. I'm just saying. Well,
these
you're
movies
talking
make
about
$2 billion. There's no such thing as expensive.
Here's the thing. If it's $2 billion and for this one apparently the break-even mark is $2 billion, then it doesn't matter that they make $2 billion.
We look. The break-even point for this one is actually $1 billion. So,
so
for both it was probably $2 billion.
Hold on.
So they're good. They're good on money.
It's $1 billion. It's about $1 billion. It's the break even. Yeah. And they already made that shit in the last one and the previous one before that. So like, I also believe that this is also going to, I think it won't reach the heights of the other two. I wouldn't be surprised if it does, but I do think it's going to continue to just be the biggest.
It needs $1 billion, potentially $2 billion is what's been reported by Forbes, IGN, and Screen Rant. So they don't know the exact. They don't know the exact number. They just know it's not a big gap because it says well over $1 billion. So what is well over? Because that makes me think at least 1.5.
You would not make a movie that has to make $2 billion to break even. So even if it's like 1.1,
making a movie that needs $1 billion to break even.
True.
And if you are, they should be better movies.
Well, to be fair, that you have to remember that number is also factoring in like the marketing budget and everything. So keep that in mind. For a film like this, you need to throw hella marketing behind it.
My final question: do you all think it's going to be another $2 billion game?
Oh yes, because China exists, and China fucking loves two things: they love Avatar and they love animals.
That's why Zootopia 2 already hit $1 billion.
Exactly. And China is the reason Avatar took the #1 grossing film of all time back from Avengers Endgame because it made over $100 million in its re-release before Avatar 2 and took the top spot back.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to make $2 billion.
The last one,
I think it's going to make like. I think this one
going to make at least.
It's a different time. I'm going like 1.7 to 1.9 initially. I think upon the re-release, when the next one's coming out, it's going to break $2 billion. They're just going to put it back in theaters.
Harrison, I'm going to say to you the same thing I said to every person who's told me it's not going to make $2 billion, which is a key factor that everyone forgets when it comes to these films. They only allow theaters to have 2 to 4 screenings a day that are not 3D. The 3D factor of these films is what helps push its box office as high as it is.
Not today. I would agree with that. Like when you know what ticket prices are now? The 3D ticket is not more expensive than the regular ticket. When the first two came out, that helped out.
The second one came out 3 years ago. Pause. Ticket prices are essentially the same. $1 or $2 difference, maybe.
It's just $2 difference. And that's a lot for some people.
Yeah, that's a lot. What the hell?
I'm not saying it isn't a lot, but my point is, people view this like we've seen the history of people viewing this as being like, all right, I got to see this on the big screen because and they essentially have no other option than to see it in 3D. That's the biggest
I
thing.
mean,
They
honestly,
limit the ability to see it in anything but 3D, and that is why it makes.
yeah, it'll probably be like 2 showings non 3D. This movie should be seen in 3D.
My theater the theater I frequent, I should say, has only 3 screenings a day that are not 3D, and about 15 that are strictly 3D, and then a couple that are like the premium 3D, XD or IMAX or Dolby, whatever you.
I'm going 1.7 to 1.9. I'm going Spider-Man No Way Home numbers.
I'm
They'll
going
get close.
The last one came out
Yes.
after Spider-Man. The last one came out after Spider-Man No Way Home. Think about that. So
It was a better movie though, technically. But if you go, one was 2.7, the second one 2.3. You got to go down 4, 1.9.
Remember, you have to take away 2 of that, or 0.2 of that 2.7, because
either way, it's still going down. It's making a lot.
But my point is, like, I think realistically, you're looking at 2 to 2.1.
That's what I'm thinking. The other thing you need to look at that is going to work in Avatar's favor, in my opinion, is the competition that it has for what's seemingly a theatrical run.
Every time there's no competition.
What's coming out this Christmas?
Yeah. Avatar. Marty Supreme.
Yeah, that's gonna be it.
And it does have like 5 good trailers on it. It has like Spider-Man, Doomsday.
Yeah. I think that I think it's gonna hit. I think it's gonna hit 2, but just 2. I think it's gonna be around like right above the 2 million. Like if it doesn't hit 2, it'd be 1.9. But I do think that trajectory of down is gonna get it around the 2 million. 2 billion.
So here's what we have coming out in 2026 or January 2026. Excuse me. Just keep in mind this comes out December 19th. We bury the dead.
Yeah.
Kids Bop live the concert.
Daisy Ridley zombie movie.
Yes.
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
Greenland 2.
That first one was good.
I think the first one's very good. Yeah.
I like Greenland. I don't know about Greenland 2, but
28. There's no
Primate's fucking great, by the way. Can I just say, as someone who's seen it, Primate is great.
I just thought it was Cylinder Burger, but never mind. Anyways, you want to know what the real competition may be? Because a lot of people were, let's be honest, 28 years later bombed, and that
this one's gonna bomb hard.
Yeah,
Bone Temple is
28 years later. Bone Temple comes out January 16th. Do you guys know what else starts that weekend? The re-releases of Lord of the Rings 20th or the extended edition. I have a feeling that's going to do better money than 28 years later. So just being honest. So like it's got no real competition until that week essentially. That might be competition. Keywords might. And even by then, Avatar Way of Water had already hit 2 billion, if I remember, in middle of January. Let me double check this. Go ahead and talk amongst yourselves.
I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't hit the 2, but I also wouldn't be surprised if it does. I just think it's going to land. I think it's going to land right around there.
I say it hits 2 upon a re-release. I say it gets close. They're going to re-release it when they're going to re-release all of them. When like whatever 4 is called, they're putting all of them back in theaters, and they're going to get like a couple 100 million each.
47 days after initial release is when it hit the 2 billion. And we just essentially said it's not going to have competition until 30 days in. So, and even then, we said the competition is questionable. When's the first? So there's nothing of real competition outside of maybe Bone Temple in January.
Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man is the next really big release that comes out after Avatar.
No, that's next July.
But we're talking about like in the immediate.
Spider-Man's next July.
Yes, Spider-Man's July.
They moved it.
It's always been July. It is always.
Wasn't it?
July.
I thought it was May.
It was like March or something.
No, it's always been July. It was
before Doomsday, and then it was it was after Doomsday.
It was after Doomsday.
Oh yeah, they moved Doomsday.
Yes, they moved
Doomsday was May, Spider-Man was July.
That's what
they moved Doomsday to December. Yeah.
So like, and even then, I'm looking at February. You want to know what the next big movie to come out by then is? And I don't even think it's going to be that big because of what it is. Wuthering Heights. like there's not the biggest film release post Avatar, February 27th, 2026. Anyone have a guess? Anyone know what comes out that day?
Black Panther
No.
3. You said 2026?
2026. Scream,
No idea.
Scream 7. Scream 7.
Oh.
That is the next big tentpole film post release of Avatar.
We'll see how long it takes
Yeah.
So
to get to that too.
It's got every chance to make that 2.
Yeah.
Does it deserve to make 2? That's a
I
different
think personally,
conversation.
yes. I think personally, yes.
I mean, the other two did, so
You think the other 2 deserve to make 2?
yes.
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 This
And
one I
also,
don't.
Nick factor in the fact that first one made 2 when ticket prices were even cheaper. So
You know, I'll
Yeah,
say
but
this.
I didn't say I said deserves to make 2. I don't think. I mean,
this-
if at least for me, Avatar is not sniffing my top 50
And-
films
and-
that come out in the last 10 years.
you're a crazy person.
Sure.
Also,
Same. I'm in the same place.
Rue's
also
also a crazy person.
I've known Rue's a crazy person. Anyways, you also have to
Welcome to
remember.
the asylum.
You also have to remember, Avatar, the first one, made its money and name off of how it pushed 3D technology forward. It made its money based off of its technological achievements. That is what the first one made its money off of.
I also believe that this one is going to do the same thing.
Mhm.
Like people go out to see what it looks like. So
It is breathtaking to look at. No
Ridiculous.
question.
I'm saying it's breathtaking, and I saw it in double vision. So
I'll say this last thing. If it does hit 2 billion, if it actually hits that mark, they just need to let James Cameron make the Alita Battle Angel sequel. Like he deserved.
No one needs that shit.
Yes.
It's
No
a
one
good
needs that
movie.
shit.
Yes.
No one needs that shit.
They should just give it to him. If he wants to make it, say thank you for the 2 billion again.
No,
Here, make
no,
your
no,
Alita Battle Angel sequel.
Here. You want
Him
to
and
know
Robert
why?
Rodriguez keep saying that it's coming. They're
They
working
made a
on
blood
it. It's
pact.
gonna happen.
They made a
They
blood
made a
pact.
blood
on
pact.
it.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. That male lead performance that ruined that fucking movie for me.
He's dead
That's
now.
okay. He
so
doesn't
they
need
can
to
move
be
on.
on the second.
I don't care that
There
he's
you go.
dead.
He's gone.
I could.
Yeah.
I would.
We don't need him. Yeah.
We have Edward Norton to look forward to.
That man was also talking about being more hands-on with Terminator. Like, no, just stop it. Give me Pandora. Give me Avatar. You don't need to do anything else.
Alita Battle Angel is as good, like remembered as well as it is impressive because of how weak that romance story is, which is a large part of the film. But the rest of it is so much better than everything else and so memorable in a way that it survives ahead of that. If he can make a sequel that doesn't have a shitty like YA B movie style romance with, not a lot of chemistry and all the kind of iffy parts of the relationship aspect, like, man, Alita Battle Angel could be killer.
And that's where it ended up on, and that's where it looked like it was going. So I'm with it.
Also, I don't know if they'd be able to pull Mahershala back into that.
Oh, they're
what
definitely
is he doing, Blade?
He's free now. Yeah, he's free now. They're getting
I'm
him
just
back.
I'm just saying without giving him a massive payday.
I mean, if he's the main villain,
No,
then
he'll
I think he
say
gets
wait
payday.
a minute.
he'll say I'm James Cameron. You can get back in.
Did he die? I can't remember because that movie is so fucking forgettable.
No,
He
I thought
did.
he killed her. He took that lady's organs and took them up to the city. I thought that's what he did.
I'm pretty sure. I'm not moving forward to this because I'm not checking, but
I'll check.
I think he died off. He died off screen, and they showed Jennifer Connelly, or was it Flip? Yeah, he died. I believe he died. I remember him dying because I remember being like, damn, there goes Mahershala.
Died off screen never means anything.
That's also true.
I just remember seeing Edward Norton and being like, all right, I'm fucking over this shit. All right, but with that, folks, I think we could go into so much more. That's the fucked up thing. It's a 3 hour and 15-minute, realistically like 3:07 movie, and we only scratched the surface. We got into as much as we could while doing that. But Amarú, Nick, Harrison, I want to thank you guys for doing this. Remember to like and subscribe to Bitesize Breakdown. Check out Nick and Amarú's stuff on the main website. Harrison, where can the good people find you?
You can find me on all social media at FlixFrog for my reviews, at MovieGuru23 for me personally. Always fun to get into it and talk about movies.
And
yeah, I looked it up.
And you can find me right here on A Bigger Bite and also on my main YouTube channel, Watt Real Entertainment. I will probably have a breakdown with Jeff Alterman because he said he's very interested in talking about this, or maybe one of the guys from TBNT who is also a massive Avatar fan like me. We'll see. But anyways, signing off. I am Matt. That is Rue. That is Harrison. And that is Nick. And this was another Bigger Bite. We'll see you next time.